Yeah, y'all know all the X's and O's, man. I'm just sitting at home watching. I don't like to get into that because I don't believe the game is really decided on the field. So
Hey, everyone, guess who's back? It's the commish back here with another, draft preview for the red and white division. And this time it's my brother Brian and the 12th man. Original owner, former LOC champion, won the LOC championship very early on when the league was formed. So that was actually before it was a money league. It was actually a free league back then. And I always give my brother a hard time about how he's never really taken home the bag, even though he's been a champion. Last year, you finally became relevant for the first time in years as you finished third place last year. You took home the red and white division crown, and I'm happy for you. It's been a long time since you've been relevant, and it was a tough year for us last year. Let's not kid ourselves, bro. With everything that happened with mom. And, it obviously affected your draft strategy last year, too. I know it did, but you still ended up third. So obviously someone was watching and said, hey, we got to give these guys a victory of some sort. I'm just going to share my screen now and get into your PowerPoint here. Let me get rid of this. Okay, so 12th man, Brian. So there's lots of things to talk about for you this year, Brian. And again, I got to give you credit because you did finish high, and we'll get into how you've been able to create still a decent scenario for this year. And I think you actually make the red and white division a strong division this year. There are question marks at keeper, though. First off, Josh Jacobs might hold out. He might be the next Le'Veon Bell part 2. And if he is, you're screwed. Let's face it, if he becomes the Le'Veon Bell part 2, your season's likely over. Kenneth Walker, same thing. Huge question marks. I'm hearing Zach Charbonnet has been electric in camp. And not only that, they love his pass catching chops a lot more than they like Kenneth Walker's, which I think could be a problem for you. And let's face it, obviously, I know the trade. Susie made the draft pick move with you. The trade basically ended up being James Cook and Kadarius Toney for Kenneth Walker. And James Cook and Kadarius Toney, I believe, are both keepers for Susie this year. Didn't work out for her last year, but is that trade in the long term going to work out for her now that Kenneth Walker has that competition? Aaron Jones, he's getting old. That offense doesn't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. It's Jordan Love. Might help you, actually. Might be a lot of dump passes off to Aaron Jones. So we'll have to see how that comes to fruition. Calvin Ridley, you held on to him all last year, I believe, and I think it's going to pay off for you. I've been hearing nothing but great things about Calvin Ridley, and that Jaguars team, let's face it, is ascending. They want Trevor Lawrence to succeed, and I think that means great news for you. Christian Watson, again, on that Green Bay offense. I'm surprised, to be honest, because I'm pretty sure you hate the Packers, and you have 2 Packers as keepers. And then I look at, Krista at least is keeping, what's his face, Geno Smith. And then Stan, who I just previewed, he's keeping a couple of Seahawks. And I don't see, well, I guess you do have Kenneth Walker. So I guess I can't give you too hard of a time. But then I also see your linebacker, you're keeping Fred Warner, another team that usually is a team that most Seahawks fans hate with the 49ers. But let's face it, from a fantasy perspective, Fred Warner is a good linebacker to have. You are keeping 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 linebacker. So obviously going running back heavy. And if your running backs don't have those question marks, then you'll be in good shape. But I think at least one of them will have one of those question marks come to fruition. Draft picks. This is where I give you credit, bro. You finished third place last year, and most people that finished top 3 have an unfortunate draft pick scenario usually the next year, unless your name's Swahino or Subotica Spartans. So clearly you took their MO, didn't trade much picks. In fact, you ended up with having 11 picks in the first 10 by having an extra 5th rounder. I don't know what you did to get the extra 5th rounder. You can comment if you want. But I think great moves by you to finish third and be in this type of draft pick scenario. You basically have all your original picks, really. If you think about it, you got 10 picks in the 11 to 20, not skipping a beat. The only pick you're really missing in any round is round 21. And who really gives a shit at that point to be perfectly honest with you. So I thought you set yourself up pretty good here this year. I do think that it's going to be tough with Adrian and myself in the division because we have better draft pick scenarios. But I still think you're going to compete. And when I look at your outlook, I think you can compete for the red and white if you can nail those picks and the question marks don't come to fruition. If everything pans out, Kenneth Walker's still RB/1-2 and Josh Jacobs comes back, I think you can definitely compete for the red and white. I think you have a great pick situation considering you finished top 3 last year. You finally have brought yourself back to relevancy after a few down years. Still means though, like when you look at your career record, I'm pretty sure you and I actually had the exact same career record, or maybe I might have finished a game better. I can't remember. But either or, I mean, what a track record of success for you and I in the LOC. Now in the Wffl, we're going to make our own history and statistics. I think you will likely make the playoffs with the roster that you do have, but I will throw a caveat out there. If Josh Jacobs holds out like Le'Veon Bell, you will not make the playoffs. And I am going to throw it out there. I do feel confident that you will not finish top 3 this year like last year. I just don't think your team is good enough. But, again, I thought you had a shitty draft last year, and you proved me wrong and ended up finishing 3rd. So, Brian, just want to say again, happy to have you in this league. You and Krista are just phenomenal. And again, just want to say thank you for talking with me last year and getting through last year and being there for me. So, and, always be there for you, bro. All right. Good luck this year, man.